Life constantly places you at a crossroads. At every turn, you face a choice. Will you allow every distraction to steal your energy, or will you protect your focus and rise above the chaos? Some people function exactly like advertisements. They're loud, they're persistent, they demand your attention, and they're completely unnecessary to your journey. Just as you skip an ad that interrupts your flow, you possess the power to skip those who drain your energy, cloud your judgment, and pull you away from your true path. This isn't about cruelty or indifference. This is about reclaiming your attention, your peace, and ultimately your life. It's about understanding the most important rule of personal growth. Not everyone deserves a place in your inner circle. Think carefully about how advertisements work. They're engineered to capture your attention, distract your focus, and make you spend time and energy on things that don't serve your highest good. They're flashy, they're intrusive, and they're often disguised as something beneficial. Many people operate in precisely the same way. Certain individuals enter your life demanding engagement, offering little substance, and leaving you mentally exhausted. They may appear charming at first. Their presence might feel exciting, even beneficial. But the effect is temporary and almost always superficial. Like advertisements, their presence is mostly noise, a disruption to the clarity, focus, and progress you're building for yourself. The patterns are remarkably similar. An ad interrupts your experience. A human ad interrupts your peace. An ad demands your immediate response. A human ad demands your immediate energy. An ad offers something that seems valuable but rarely delivers. A human ad presents themselves as essential to your life, but contributes nothing meaningful. Once you see this pattern, you cannot unsee it. The first step in learning to skip these human ads is awareness. Pay close attention to how people make you feel. Not just in the moment, but after the interaction is over. Do they inspire and uplift you? Do they challenge you to grow? Do they help you see life from a better, clearer perspective? Or do they leave you anxious, drained, and second-guessing your choices? Understanding this distinction is vital. It allows you to separate meaningful relationships from distractions. It helps you recognize who deserves your attention and who does not. This is a practice in clarity, discernment, and emotional intelligence. And here's what most people miss. Awareness isn't passive. It requires you to actively observe your internal state before, during, and after interactions. It requires honesty with yourself about how certain people affect your energy, your mood, and your mental clarity. When you develop this level of awareness, you begin to notice patterns. You start to see that certain people always leave you feeling depleted. Certain conversations always lead to unnecessary drama. Certain interactions always pull you away from your goals. And once you see these patterns clearly, you gain the power to change them. Skipping someone who behaves like an ad is not selfish. It is an act of self-respect. Your attention is one of your most valuable assets. Every interaction requires energy. Energy that could be spent on your growth, your creativity, or relationships that truly matter. People who consistently drain your focus are taking from your emotional and mental reserves without giving anything in return. By refusing to engage, you protect what is most precious, your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. Let's be clear about something. In a world that constantly demands your attention, protecting your focus is not just smart, it's essential. Without this protection, you become scattered, reactive, and vulnerable to manipulation. Think about it this way. If someone walked up to you and demanded your money without offering anything in return, you'd refuse immediately. Yet many people hand over their attention, which is far more valuable than money, to anyone who asks for it. Your attention is currency. Your energy is wealth. And you must guard both with the same vigilance you'd guard your financial assets. Consider the subtle ways distractions invade your life. Even a brief conversation, a text message, or a small interaction can consume mental energy and emotional bandwidth. Human ads, like digital ads, operate by inserting themselves into your life in small but cumulative ways. Gradually, they erode your focus and calm. Over time, this energy drain can prevent you from achieving your goals, hinder personal growth, and create stress that you didn't even notice building. And here's the insidious part. The drain often feels minor in the moment. One conversation doesn't seem like a big deal. One text doesn't feel significant. One interaction appears harmless. But these small drains accumulate, day after day, week after week. They compound into a massive energy deficit that leaves you feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, and unclear about why you can't seem to make progress in your life. It's like a slow leak in a tire. At first, you barely notice. But over time, the pressure drops, performance suffers, and eventually you're driving on empty. The same thing happens with your mental and emotional energy when you allow human ads to drain you consistently. There's also a psychological element to consider. Advertisements are designed to exploit curiosity, desire, or insecurity. Human ads are no different. They appeal to your emotions. They manipulate your attention. They often provoke unnecessary drama or conflict. Recognizing this pattern empowers you to disengage consciously. You don't have to respond to every PR vocation, every demand, or every attempt to pull you into unnecessary chaos. Skipping is a choice, a deliberate decision to protect your mind and your well-being. Let me break down the psychological tactics human ads use. Guilt. They make you feel like you owe them something. Your time, your attention, your energy, obligation. They frame their demands as reasonable expectations that you must meet. Fear. They imply that refusing them will result in conflict, judgment, or loss. Flattery. They appeal to your ego, making you feel special or important, but only to gain access to your resources. These tactics are not accidental. Whether conscious or unconscious, they serve one purpose: to hijack your attention and energy for their benefit, not yours. Once you understand these tactics, you can spot them instantly. And once you spot them, you can choose not to engage. Skipping someone does not mean ignoring your emotions. It means honoring them. It takes courage to say, I will not allow this person to distract me from my goals, my peace, or my happiness. Many fear that disengaging makes them appear cold or uncaring. But the reality is the opposite. Protecting your energy is a sign of strength, self-respect, and wisdom. It's an investment in yourself, one that compounds over time as you cultivate deeper focus and stronger boundaries. Here's what people often misunderstand. Compassion doesn't require constant availability. Kindness doesn't mean sacrifice. Icing your well-being. Love doesn't mean accepting every demand placed on you. True compassion begins with yourself. True kindness includes protecting your peace. True love honors your boundaries. When you disengage from people who drain you, you're not being cruel. You're being wise. You're preserving your energy for people and pursuits that genuinely matter. And ironically, this practice often makes you more compassionate, not less. When you're not constantly drained by human ads, you have more energy to give to those who truly deserve it. The more you practice skipping human ads, the more intuitive your discernment becomes. You begin to sense, often before any interaction occurs, whether someone will uplift or drain you. Your instincts sharpen, your boundaries strengthen. You waste less time on distractions and more time nurturing relationships and pursuits that matter. This is not just emotional intelligence. This is mastery of your own life. Think of it like developing a sixth sense. At first, you have to consciously analyze every interaction. You have to ask yourself, is this person adding value or draining energy? But over time, with practice, this analysis becomes automatic. You walk into a room and immediately sense the energy. You receive a message and instinctively know whether it deserves a response. You encounter a person and instantly recognize whether they're worth your time. This level of discernment is powerful. It saves you countless hours of wasted energy. It protects you from unnecessary drama. It allows you to navigate life with clarity and confidence. Modern life constantly tests this skill. Social media, workplaces, and social circles push you to respond to everyone, to engage and to validate others, often at the cost of your own clarity and peace. But imagine a life where your attention is sacred, carefully allocated, and consciously protected. Imagine the freedom, the focus, and the growth that come when you refuse to invest energy in people who act like ads. Just as skipping irrelevant pop-ups makes your online experience better, skipping people who drain you makes your life exponentially better. We live in an age of unprecedented distraction. Your phone buzzes constantly. Notifications demand immediate attention. People expect instant responses to messages, emails, and calls. Society has conditioned you to be constantly available, constantly responsive, constantly engaged. But this conditioning is killing your focus, your productivity, and your peace. The most successful people understand this. They guard their attention fiercely. They respond selectively. They engage intentionally. You must do the same. Finally, skipping human ads is not only defensive, it's proactive. By saying no to distractions, you make room for meaningful growth, creativity, and authentic connections. Every interaction freed from unnecessary drama is an opportunity to focus on what truly matters. You cultivate relati on ships that uplift, inspire, and support you. Skipping the unnecessary is not rejection. It's a conscious choice to live intentionally, to prioritize your mental and emotional health, and to reclaim the energy that belongs to you. When you say no to what doesn't serve you, you create space for what does. When you refuse to engage with human ads, you open yourself to genuine connections, meaningful work, and purposeful action. This is the transformative power of intentional disengagement. As you continue to refine your ability to skip human ads, you will notice a remarkable shift in your life. It starts with small victories, choosing not to engage in a pointless argument, ignoring a manipulative comment, or gracefully withdrawing from a draining conversation. Each choice reinforces your sense of self, your clarity, and your peace. Over time, these small acts accumulate into a profound transformation. You no longer feel trapped by the expectations, whims, or drama of others. Instead, you move through life with a sense of calm, control, and confidence. You are no longer at the mercy of the chaos that others bring. You are the master of your focus. Think of it like compound interest. Each small decision to skip a human ad might seem insignificant in the moment, but these decisions compound over time. One skipped conversation saves you an hour of mental energy. One ignored text prevents an evening of unnecessary stress. One boundary maintained protects your entire weekend from drama. Multiply these small wins over weeks, months, and years, and the cumulative effect is massive. Your life transforms from reactive chaos to intentional calm. There is also a liberating sense of empowerment that comes with this practice. When you decide to skip someone, you reclaim your power. You refuse to allow your emotions, time, or energy to be hijacked. You choose the narrative of your life rather than letting it be written by people who do not have your best interests at heart. And with that power comes freedom. The freedom to focus on your goals, to nurture meaningful relationships, and to invest your energy in pursuits that truly matter. It's a conscious act of living intentionally, rather than reacting to every distraction that crosses your path. This empowerment is not arrogance. It's self-authority. It's the recognition that you, and you alone, are responsible for how you spend your attention and energy. No one else has the right to dictate your focus. No one else gets to determine what deserves your time. No one else controls your emotional energy. You do. And when you fully embrace this truth, everything changes. In practical terms, skipping human ads requires both awareness and strategy. Awareness is the ability to recognize the energy drains in your life, the people who add noise, confusion, or unnecessary drama. Strategy is deciding how to handle them. You do not need to engage in confrontation or explain yourself constantly. Sometimes the most effective way to skip an ad is simply to scroll past it in silence. Similarly, the most effective way to skip a person is to disengage without creating conflict. Set boundaries, limit contact, and protect your mental space. Silence can be more powerful than any argument or explanation. Here's the practical framework. Step 1, identify. Notice who consistently drains your energy. Pay attention to patterns, not isolated incidents. Step 2, assess. Ask yourself whether this person contributes to your growth, your peace, or your purpose. Be brutally honest. Step 3, act. Set boundaries, limit contact, disengage gracefully. You don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your peace. Step 4, maintain. Boundaries are worthless if you don't enforce them. Consistency is key. This framework works in every area of life, personal relationships, professional settings, social media, everywhere. It's also important to differentiate between people who challenge you constructively and those who drain you destructively. True mentors, friends, and supporters may test your limits, push you to grow, or provoke discomfort, but they do so with care and with your well-being in mind. Human ads, in contrast, provoke discomfort for their own amusement, manipulation, or attention-seeking purposes. Recognizing the difference allows you to invest energy wisely, engaging with those who help you grow and skipping those who keep you stuck. This distinct eye-on is critical. Not every uncomfortable interaction is a drain. Sometimes discomfort signals growth. Sometimes being challenged is exactly what you need. The difference lies in intent and outcome. A mentor might challenge you harshly, but the intent is your growth, and the outcome is your improvement. A human ad might challenge you with the same intensity, but the intent is their ego, and the outcome is your exhaustion. Learn to recognize the difference. It will save you years of wasted energy. Another key aspect of skipping human ads is self-reflection. Examine why certain interactions trigger strong emotional reactions. Often, people who act like ads exploit your insecurities, fears, or unhealed wounds. By addressing these internal triggers, you reduce their power over you. Skipping someone is not only about disengaging from external distractions, it's also about strengthening your internal resilience. The more secure you are in your own identity, the less anyone can pull you into unnecessary drama or emotional chaos. This is where the deepest work happens. External boundaries are important, but internal strength is essential. When you're secure in who you are, manipulation loses its power. When you've healed your wounds, people can't exploit them. When you're clear about your values, others can't confuse you. Internal work makes external boundaries effortless. It's also worth noting that skipping human ads is not a one-time action. It's an ongoing parade. Tice. Life constantly introduces new distractions, new demands, and new personalities. Maintaining your boundaries requires vigilance, self-awareness, and a willingness to choose yourself first. Every interaction is an opportunity to exercise discernment, to decide whether someone deserves your attention or whether they are simply a passing distraction. This practice is not passive. It's an active, conscious effort to protect your mental and emotional energy. Think of it like physical fitness. You don't go to the gym once and expect to stay fit forever. You have to consistently work out, maintain discipline, and make healthy choices. The same applies to mental and emotional fitness. You must consistently practice discernment, maintain boundaries, and choose your focus wisely. This ongoing practice builds a life of clarity, purpose, and peace. By practicing this habit consistently, you begin to experience a profound clarity in life. Your focus sharpens, your decision-making improves, your emotional energy becomes aligned with your highest priorities. You stop wasting time on trivial matters and start investing in what truly matters: your growth, your goals, and your meaningful relationships. Skipping human ads is a skill that enhances every area of your life: your productivity, your creativity, and your inner peace. This clarity is transformative. It's the difference between feeling constantly overwhelmed and feeling fully in control. It's the difference between reacting to life and intentionally creating it. When your focus is sharp, decisions become easier. When your energy is protected, creativity flows. When your peace is guarded, stress diminishes. Clarity is not just a nice to have. It's the foundation of a life well lived. Moreover, the ripple effect of this practice is powerful. When you model clear boundaries and conscious attention, others begin to respect your time and energy. You teach those around you that your focus is not negotiable and that your attention is a privilege, not an entitlement. This strengthens your relationships with the people who genuinely matter and naturally distances those who are disruptive manipulative, or draining. Skipping human ads becomes both a personal strategy and a social statement, an affirmation of self-respect and intentional living. People notice when you protect your energy. They notice when you don't respond to every demand. They notice when you prioritize yourself. And here's what happens. Those who respect you will respect your boundaries. Those who don't will either adjust or leave your life. Either way, you win. There's also a deeper philosophical lesson here. Life is finite and your time is precious. Every moment wasted on someone who contributes nothing to your growth is a moment that can never be reclaimed. Just as you scroll past an ad to continue enjoying meaningful content, you must scroll past people who add noise, drama, or negativity to your life. It's N-O-T only practical. It's a mindset. By seeing interactions through this lens, you cultivate discernment, intentionality, and a sense of freedom that is rare in a world of constant distractions. Death is the ultimate deadline. You don't have forever. Your time on this earth is limited, uncertain, and irreplaceable. When you truly internalize this truth, you become far more selective about how you spend your time and energy. You stop tolerating people who waste it. You stop engaging in activities that drain it. You stop accepting anything less than what you truly deserve. This awareness doesn't make you morbid. It makes you intentional. At its core, this practice is about empowerment. It's about choosing what to engage with, what to invest in, and what to leave behind. Some people will demand your attention, energy, and focus without offering anything in return. They may be loud, persistent, or emotionally manipulative. But your response is your choice. You can respond or you can skip. You can allow them to drain you, or you can protect your energy and move forward. This is the power of conscious living. You are not a victim of your environment. You are not at the mercy of other people's demands. You are not obligated to engage with every person who crosses your path. You have power, you have choice, you have control. And when you exercise that power consciously, consistently, and courageously, you create a life that reflects your values, your priorities, and your highest vision for yourself. Remember, skipping someone does not make you less compassionate or caring. On the contrary, it allows you to conserve your energy for acts of true kindness, meaningful relationships, and purposeful action. By refusing to give attention to those who drain you, you create more space for genuine connections, creativity, and personal growth. Your life becomes less cluttered. Your mind becomes clearer. Your heart becomes freer. Simple yet profound shift in perspective. Some people are like ads. And just like ads, they are meant to be skipped. Compassion doesn't mean constant availability. It doesn't mean sacrificing yourself for everyone who asks. True compassion includes self-compassion. True kindness includes self-care. True love includes self-respect. When you skip human ads, you're not abandoning compassion. You're redirecting it toward people and causes that genuinely deserve it. And that makes your compassion far more powerful and effective. As you continue to refine your ability to skip human ads, you may notice how challenging it can be at first. Many of us have been conditioned to respond to every person who reaches out, to explain ourselves, to validate feelings, or to manage expectations. Society often praises people who are responsive or considerate, but in reality, constant responsiveness can become a trap. It trains you to give your attention to anyone who demands it, even when it's unproductive or dry. Ning. This is why mastering the art of skipping human ads is not just about action. It's about mindset. It's about realizing that your attention is sacred and that you do not owe anyone a piece of it unless it aligns with your values and growth. Breaking this conditioning is difficult. You'll feel guilt at first. You'll question whether you're being rude. You'll worry about what people think. But these feelings are just remnants of old programming. They're not truth. They're not wisdom. They're just conditioning. And conditioning can be changed. With practice, the guilt fades, the worry diminishes, and in their place emerges clarity, confidence, and peace. It's also essential to understand the emotional layers behind these interactions. Human ads often provoke subtle emotional responses. They may make you feel anxious, guilty, obligated, or even envious. These emotional triggers are deliberate or coincidental, but they serve the same purpose: to hijack your focus and energy. Recognizing these triggers is the key to regaining control. By identifying how and why certain people affect you, you can step back and choose your response instead of reacting automatically. This is empowerment in its purest form. The ability to pause, assess, and skip someone who does not serve you is a skill that strengthens emotional intelligence, resilience, and self-awareness. Emotional awareness is power. When you know what you're feeling and why, you can't be manipulated. When you understand your triggers, you can't be controlled. This awareness transforms you from reactive to responsive, from vulnerable to empowered, from scattered to focused. Another aspect to consider is the ripple effect these human ads create in your life. When someone distracts you, it often extends beyond the immediate interaction. A draining conversation can affect your mood for hours, cloud your decision-making, and even seep into unrelated tasks. This is why skipping them is not a small act. It's a vital strategy for maintaining clarity and focus. Every time you consciously choose to disengage, you reclaim not just a single moment, but a cascade of mental and emotional energy that you can redirect toward meaningful pursuits. Think about the last time someone drained your energy. How did it affect the rest of your day, your evening, your work, your relationships? Chances are that one interaction had a ripple effect far beyond the minutes you spent engaging. This is why protection matters. It's not just about the immediate interaction, it's about protecting everything that follows. It's also worth exploring the subtle forms human ads take. Some are obvious, they're loud, argumentative, or manipulative. Others are quieter, more insidious. They may pose as friends or colleagues offering advice, opinions, or unsolicited commentary that ultimately distracts you. They may appear helpful, but their true effect is to divert your energy, create doubt, or provoke unnecessary emotion. Recognizing both the loud and quiet forms of these distractions is essential. Awareness allows you to skip with precision, avoiding both obvious and hidden drains on your time and energy. The quiet human ads are the most dangerous because they're harder to spot. They slip under your radar. They disguise themselves as help, concern, or friendship, but the effect is the same: distraction, drain, and depletion. Learn to recognize both forms. Protect yourself from both. There's a powerful psychological insight here. Human ads often reflect aspects of yourself that you have not fully acknowledged. Sometimes the annoyance, frustration, or anxiety you feel in response to someone else is a mirror to your own unhealed wounds or unresolved conflicts. By observing your reactions without judgment, you gain valuable insight into your internal landscape. Skipping human ads doesn't mean avoiding self-reflection. It means choosing to engage with yourself and your growth rather than being hijacked by external chaos. In this way, skipping becomes both a protective measure and a pathway to deeper self-understanding. This is advanced work. It requires honesty, humility, and courage to look at yourself clearly. But this work is worth it, because when you heal your internal wounds, external distractions lose their power. Practically speaking, you can implement this principle in many areas of life. At work, you can set boundaries around meetings, emails, and interactions that waste your time. In friendships and social circles, you can limit conversations that revolve around gossip, negativity, or drama. On social media, you can mute, unfollow, or scroll past content that distracts or drains. These actions, while simple, have a profound cumulative effect. Each moment you skip a human ad, you reinforce your commitment to yourself, your priorities, and your mental clarity. Let's get specific. At work, decline unnecessary meetings. Ignore non-urgent emails. Set office hours for availability. Communicate boundaries clearly. In friendships, distance yourself from chronic complainers. Limit time with drama-prone individuals. Prioritize deep connections over superficial ones. On social media, mute accounts that trigger comparison or negativity. Unfollow content that doesn't serve you. Limit scrolling time. In family, set boundaries with toxic relatives. Limit exposure to family drama. Protect your peace during gatherings. These practical steps transform theory into reality. Another layer to consider is the impact on your creativity and productivity. Every time you allow a human ad to capture your attention, even briefly, it fragments your focus. Ideas, inspiration, and momentum are lost to distraction. By learning to skip effectively, you protect your mental bandwidth and create the conditions for deep work and meaningful creativity. Your mind becomes a space for growth, problem solving, and innovation rather than a battlefield of interruptions and emotional noise. Deep work, the kind that produces exceptional results, requires uninterrupted focus. It requires mental clarity. It requires emotional stability. Human ads destroy all three. When you skip them, you protect your ability to do your best work, create your best art, and solve your hardest problems. This protection is not optional. If you want to achieve excellence, it's essential. Human ads can also teach us lessons about detachment. Not everyone who demands attention is meant to stay in your life permanently. Some people appear, create noise, and leave, much like fleeting pop-up ads on a screen. By observing their patterns and responses without attachment, you cultivate a sense of detachment that is liberating. You learn to care less about controlling their actions or reactions and more about managing your own energy. This detachment is not coldness, it is wisdom. It allows you to navigate life with clarity, prioritization, and emotional stability. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care about the right things in the right measure. You care about your peace. You care about your purpose. You care about people who genuinely matter. But you don't waste emotional energy trying to control, change, or please people who are just passing through. It's also crucial to remember that skipping is not passive. It's an active choice. You must consciously decide to disengage, even when it's tempting to react, argue, or defend yourself. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. You begin to instinctively recognize when someone is a human ad and when engagement is truly valuable. This skill saves mental energy, reduces stress, and strengthens your overall resilience. Over time, it becomes a way of life, shaping your interactions and the quality of your relationships. Passive avoidance is running away. Active skipping is choosing your battles wisely. Passive avoidance is fear-driven. Active skipping is wisdom-driven. Passive avoidance weakens you. Active skipping strengthens you. Understand the difference. Practice the latter. Finally, expanding your understanding of human ads involves observing patterns. Certain people will repeatedly attempt to hijack your focus, testing your boundaries or provoking emotional reactions. Recognizing these patterns allows you to preemptively skip rather than reacting after the fact. The practice of observing, identifying, and skipping is like training a mental muscle. The more you do it, the stronger and more intuitive it becomes. It's not about judgment or labeling others negatively. It's about understanding your environment and protecting what is most important, your energy, focus, and growth. Pattern recognition is mastery. It's the ability to see what's coming before it arrives. It's the ability to protect yourself proactively rather than reactively. This skill develops over time. Be patient with yourself, but be committed to the practice, because once you master pattern recognition, human ads become easy to spot and easy to skip. By now, you should understand that skipping human ads is not just a tactic. It's a mindset, a lifestyle, and a declaration of self-respect. It's the conscious choice to protect your energy, focus, and emotional well-being from people who offer nothing but distraction, noise, or drama. Life is too short, and your attention is too precious to be squandered on those who don't genuinely contribute to your growth. Every time you skip a person who acts like an ad, you reinforce your own standards and create space for meaningful experiences, relationships, and opportunities. This is not selfishness. This is self-mastery. This is not cruelty. This is clarity. This is not avoidance. This is intentional living. And when you live this way, consciously, deliberately, unapologetically, everything changes. Consider the ripple effect of this practice. When you prioritize your attention wisely, everything in your life improves. Your mental clarity increases. Your productivity rises. Your creativity flows more freely. The people who truly matter in your life, friends, family, mentors, partners, receive more of your energy, care, and presence. You begin to notice that relationships become deeper, interactions become more meaningful, and your sense of peace grows. Skipping human ads is not about cutting people out recklessly. It's about aligning your life with what truly matters, with those who elevate you rather than drain you. This alignment creates momentum. It creates clarity. It creates a life that feels authentic, purposeful, and fulfilling. This principle also teaches you the importance of self-awareness and emotional intelligence. Every time you feel the pull to engage with someone who acts like an ad, ask yourself, is this interaction contributing to my growth, my happiness, or my purpose? Or is it merely a distraction, a drain, or a trigger? By consistently asking this question, you train your mind to operate with intentionality. You strengthen your ability to make conscious choices rather than reacting automatically. You develop resilience, clarity, and the ability to navigate complex social dynamics with ease. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand and manage your emotions and recognize the emotions of others. When you develop this skill, manipulation becomes impossible. Drama becomes irrelevant. Chaos loses its power. You become emotionally sovereign. There's a profound sense of freedom in this practice. Freedom from drama, freedom from manipulation, freedom from unnecessary obligations. By skipping those who do not serve you, you reclaim control over your time, your focus, and your emotional energy. You are no longer subject to the whims, demands, or distractions of others. You are empowered to live life on your own terms, prioritizing what matters most and letting go of what does. This is not just a life hack. This is a transformative approach to living intentionally, purposefully, and unapologetically. Freedom is the ultimate goal. Not freedom from responsibility, but freedom from unnecessary noise. Freedom from energy vampires, freedom from people who don't deserve your time. This freedom creates space. Space for growth, space for creativity, space for joy. And in that space, your truest self emerges. It's also worth emphasizing that this skill compounds over time. The more you practice skipping human ads, the more intuitive it becomes. You begin to recognize potential distractions before they enter your life. You develop a keen sense of discernment, an instinct for who deserves your attention, and a natural ability to protect your energy. Each successful act of skipping reinforces your confidence, strengthens your boundaries, and empowers you to live more deliberately. Over time, your life becomes a reflection of your values, priorities, and highest aspirations. Think compound interest again. Small daily decisions create massive long-term results. 1 year of skipping human ads transforms your life. 5 years creates a completely different existence. 10 years makes you unrecognizable from who you were. The compound effect is real. Trust it, practice it, live it. Moreover, skipping human ads is an act of self-love. It signals to yourself and the world that you value your energy, your peace, and your growth. You are responsible for managing every emotion, expectation, or demand of others. You are responsible for yourself, your path, and your purpose. By refusing to give attention to those who drain you, you affirm your worth and cultivate a life that is aligned with your highest self. This self-respect radiates outward, attracting people and experiences that support, uplift, and inspire you. Self-love isn't bubble baths and affirmations. It's boundaries. It's saying no. It's protecting your peace even when it's uncomfortable. Self-love is choosing yourself when the world expects you to choose everyone else. And when you practice this kind of self-love consistently, you become magnetic to the right people and repellent to the wrong ones. Practical application of this principle can be as simple as setting boundaries, limiting contact, or disengaging from unnecessary interactions. It can mean muting social media accounts, declining invitations that don't serve your purpose, or walking away from conversations that feel draining. These actions may feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're accustomed to pleasing others or overcommitting your energy, but each act of conscious skipping is a step toward freedom, clarity, and empowerment. It's a practice that builds resilience, sharpens focus, and strengthens your inner authority. Here are specific actions you can take today. 1. Identify one person who consistently drains your energy. 2. Set a clear boundary with that person. 3. Limit your availability to them. 4. Stop explaining or justifying your boundaries. 5. Redirect your energy towards something meaningful. Start small, build momentum, stay consistent. In life, the people who act like ads will always exist. They may be loud, persistent, or emotionally manipulative. They may appear in your personal life, your workplace, or your social networks. But the power to engage or skip is always yours. You do not need to respond to every call, text, or demand. You do not need to explain yourself or justify your choices. You simply choose engagement where it matters, skipping where it doesn't. This is the essence of living intentionally and protecting what is most valuable: your energy, your focus, and your peace of mind. Accept this truth: human ads will never disappear. They're part of life. They're everywhere. But you don't have to engage. You don't have to respond. You don't have to waste a single ounce of energy on them. The power is yours. Always has been. Always will be. And as you master this skill, you will notice something extraordinary. Your life begins to feel lighter, clearer, and more intentional. Your attention becomes a tool for growth rather than a commodity squandered on distraction. Your relationships become richer, deeper, and more fulfilling. Your goals become more attainable because your focus is undivided. And most importantly, your sense of self-worth and confidence rises because you have learned the ultimate truth. Some people are like ads, and just like ads, they are meant to be skipped. This is the transformation: from scattered to focused, from drained to energized, from reactive to intentional. This is what happens when you take control of your attention and refuse to waste it on people who don't deserve it. Your entire life changes, but this is not the end. The journey of mastering your focus, protecting your energy, and navigating human ads is ongoing. Life will constantly test your boundaries, introduce new distractions, and challenge your ability to prioritize yourself. The true mastery comes in persistence, self-awareness, and the daily practice of discernment. Each interaction is an opportunity to strengthen your ability to skip, to choose wisely, and to cultivate a life that is intentional, fulfilling, and free from unnecessary noise. Mastery is not a destination. It's a practice, a daily commitment, a lifelong journey. But every step of this journey makes you stronger, clearer, and more aligned with who you're meant to be. So let this be your mantra. Not everyone deserves my attention. Not every voice matters. Not every interaction serves my growth. And that is perfectly okay. By recognizing who is worth my time and who is not, I reclaim my power, my focus, and my life. By skipping those who act like ads, I make room for what truly matters: meaningful relationships, purposeful action, and a life lived intentionally. The world may be full of noise, distractions, and human ads, but my attention is mine, and I will spend it wisely. This is your truth, your power, your freedom. Live it fully. Practice it daily. Protect it fiercely, because your attention is sacred. Your energy is valuable, and your life is yours to create. Skip the ads. Protect your focus. Reclaim your life. If you made it this far, you're part of the 1% who's serious about growth. Drop A in the comments so I know you're committed to this journey.